Alright, just a little update. I'm gonna do this right here while driving. I was not intentionally planning on doing this right here, bashing anybody or anything of this nature, but it is beyond time that it is done. Okay, I went and bought my bike brand new at roughly 500 miles. I took it to a Lexington, North Carolina shop called Garwood Custom Cycles. Had a conversation with them. Um, I ordered a RCC stage stage one turbo kit, and I had them installed. Well, that was December range when I took it to them. January, over a month later, I went back and picked it up. They said, "Oh, there's a couple of things that need to be done. We can tune it. We can do this." Well, I wrote it for a little bit because I was heading to Florida, and well, needless to say, there's a whole lot wrong. So in January, I took it right back to Garwood Custom Cycles. So it's set from January to March. Simply trying to get a turbo installed and put on. So then in March, I turned around and picked it up for the second time. And when I got there, they had it on a dyno. They walked me over there, let me see them do it on a dyno. There's actually a video where I done. And well, I loaded it up. The FI light's still on. And so I called Richard with RCC, and I talked to them. Well, I talked to him, not them. And I tell him what's going on. He starts laughing, turns around, tells me Garwood should have never took on the install because their guys did not know what was going on. So I turn around after a conversation with Richard. He advised me that there was two shops on the East Coast that he highly recommends. One being New York, and I wasn't going north. I was planning on going down to Bike Week, so I was heading to Florida, and they turned around and told me about a shop in right outside of Fort Lauderdale called Blades Cycle. So I went down there. The guy down there, he spent the entire day on my bike. They had so many issues that Garwood turned around and screwed up. Fuel lines not in properly. Um, they're getting pinched. One fuel line was literally about to bust. And, uh, spark plugs were not all the way in. I almost had no coolant in my bike, and there was broken tabs on the air box. It should have had four tabs, one on each corner. It had two, one which was broke. So he fabbed up and made the bracket so it could all go on there properly. He put new plugs in there, filled it up with coolant, and he tuned it and actually got the bike running right. Because at roughly 4,000 ish RPMs, it was sputtering because it was starting to kick up boost. It was not getting fuel. So the guys at Garwood kept trying to kick up the fuel ratio so it wouldn't do it. But the moral of it was, they was trying to flood it out because, well, hey, it wasn't getting no fuel because the fuel lines were benched. They had fuel lines ran back by the shocks and all. Well, in the process of all this right here, I noticed that my fairing was cut. So I reached out to Richard once again, since he does a lot of turbos and everything up there in Ontario, Canada. He says, "Oh, absolutely not. That was never supposed to be done." So I turned around, reached out, and I explained to him everything that's going on. So after a long conversation and them trying to talk me down on how much, they finally agreed to replace my fairing. They agreed to where my oil pan was leaking still because they tried to fab up an oil line because obviously they messed up the oil fitting, so they tried to fab up uh, and JB Weld or some kind of situation where they turn around and but it wasn't whole. That's the moral of it. So after a long conversation and them trying to I hate to say this, but trying to talk me down and everything. I finally agreed upon a $1,200 cut, a check, and them replacing my oil pan and my left side fairing where they cut unnecessarily. So when I got back, there's more issues. I had to have the transmission brace cut and everything because of. So they worked out a deal with me, which I will give them credit for that. They with upgrades and everything, they did come in lower than I've talked to. Not forks, shift fork rods. There we go. The heavy duty clutch springs, the billet sprocket cover, all that was done, and it was still less than, it was like $2,200, $2,250 if I remember correctly. And engine ice went in, but when I went and picked it up, the fairing was messed up. So I took it back. They pulled the fairing off because that other fairing came in. Well, the heat shields never come in. I specifically told them that they need to order this right here, blah blah blah. And I said, I've already went through this right here where I dropped my bike. Don't want to talk about that. But so the fairing come in, they never ordered any of the heat shields or any of this right here. So I went back and talked to them. Well, they said they would order it. Well, the other inner part of the fairing was also cut, so they said it's going to order that. So that came in. Um, so I specifically again told them they need to order all these heat shields and cushions and all this stuff. And oh yeah, yeah, we'll take care. We'll make sure everything's taken care of. So um, stuff come in. I said, okay, let's verify everything came in. Here's all the part numbers. Now the assistant, well, the shop manager, I text him because he used to text regularly and be on par with everything because of everything going on. And then all of a sudden that stopped. Um, Now I cannot receive a text from him to save my life. So the other day, after the second part of the fairing came in, um, I asked about the cushions and all this right here. Well, after about a 30-minute hold, they finally come back and turn around and said that that hasn't come in. So needless to say, they didn't order. So they had to order there. So then that came in. Now I'll go ahead and put you up on par here. I've been specifically pushing them, saying, "Look, I'm getting ready to move. I am moving out of state. I need this stuff done before I ever leave." And I've told them exactly when I'm moving. Moving from North Carolina to Florida, so it's not like I'm going to be close. It's not like I'm going to be in the same state an hour, hour and a half. No, I'm going to be 6, 7 hours away. So I turned around and told them all this right here. So the other day they called, said stuff was there. So with the weather, and I've been trying to work on my trailer and everything, get it prepared for whenever I move. I finally got everything, and the weather broke, and I called them up and said, "Look, I'll be there in an hour and a half." Well, we can't just let you walk in and it's whatever. I said, if you can get it done, I'll wait around all day, whatever. I just need this air so I can load it up and start packing all my stuff because the bike's going in first, and then everything else is pretty much going in behind it and going from there. And so um, I get there, and they turn around and tell me that the guy's been working on it, Reggie, took off and went to the beach. So he won't be there back until Monday. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm supposed to be leaving Tuesday. So now my bike's got to sit there almost a full week to get one fairing put on. And because I'm leaving and everything, they act like that I don't matter and all this right here. They turned around and took my bike, a brand new bike, 500 miles on it, put a turbo on there, almost made it deadly with the way they had the fuel lines and everything ran and all. Where they, um, what am I looking to say? The spark plugs almost screwed my bike up where they had no antifreeze in it, all this stuff. And I'm still supposed to just keep letting them what's the word I'm looking for? Do me however they wish to do me, because they have no desire to make things right. They act insinuate and they act like they want to, but then they're not. They're they're going to push me back from leaving when I'm supposed to, instead of taking 15 minutes to put this side fairing on and say, look, we understand what's going on. We're going to go ahead and knock this out for you and everything. No, they would much rather wait a week to do something that's going to take 15 minutes, which is some BS. I don't understand it. I don't see how someone stays in business that way. I've looked at their motorcycles. I'm OCD. I've seen the flaws in their quote unquote custom paint. It bleeds together. They talk about all these turbos and all this right here. Rich with RCC's already said, specifically told me, he says he's going to pull their dealer where they can't even sell RCC turbos, and that's one of the top of the line turbos. Anybody out there will tell you that knows anything about a turbo, it will tell you RCC's top of the line. So I said, I just don't get it. How can you have a custom shop and not wanting to make things right and hindering somebody from leaving, which I have all these plans and all this stuff that is set up for me to leave on Tuesday, but now they're hindering that where that's not going to be able to be accomplished. Today's Friday. Truthfully and honestly, I wanted to be on the bike. I was wanting to ride it. I was wanting to put it away and spend the weekend packing. That was my whole hopes, goals, and dreams. Well, it's Friday. I don't have a bike. It's sunny as could be. I'm sitting in Lowe's parking lot, but it's sunny as could be. The vehicle's saying it's 86 degrees right now, um, and I'm having to sit around and wait right here at the last minute crunch time, and it just nonsense. I will be so happy whenever I turn around and get where my bike is back in my hands and 100% done with them, and find me a reliable shop. I got one. It's like 6 hours away, but more of it is it's a good reliable shop, and I don't think by no means am I going to have to take it back 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. I got a feeling I take it, drop it off, a couple of days, whatever it might take, um, go back, pick it up. It's going to be right. I shouldn't. This turbo a 3 month install. It just no, that don't. It's not right. Everybody has pretty much said it's an 8 to 10 hour install, if that. I'll tell you, hell, the bike was pretty much tore apart when they got it. All the fairings were off of it. Um, I thought about pulling the exhaust off and all this right here, but I didn't. So I'll tell you, it just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever that the custom shop, Garwood Custom Cycles down in Lexington, North Carolina, would act, do, and treat people the way they do. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, especially after everything that I've been through, all the money I've spent. I spent almost 10 grand with them, and since December, and my bike's pretty much spent the majority of, from December till now right there at their shop. I just cannot wait till it gets over with, done, and I'm done with them. That's my hopes, goals, and dreams. So, anyways, that's me ranting and raving about how the custom shop that's been doing with my bike has screwed me over, and yeah, it's just annoying. I can't stand it. It is what it is, though. As soon as I get it back, I'm done with them. So I wanted to post this out there so everybody, and I'm gonna tag them like crazy in this right here, so that everybody who Googles, um, searches for Garwood Custom Cycles out of Lexington, North Carolina, they're going to see this right here. And hopefully it will cost them some business because of the only way I think they're staying in business is because they're the only shop around that does that. The next is All Things Chrome out of Tennessee, and I've not had no dealings with them yet because there was the distance is the only reason I went to Garwood. And you got a dyno, you audits are here, and you proclaim all this stuff, and you assume that they would be able to do it. But I'm let down with them and all the stuff that they've done. So that's me ranting and raving. That's everything. So if you're watching this right here, give me a thumbs up. That way I can get on this bike. I can show you more of this bike. I can put some miles on this bike, and y'all can see it. So.